Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some malicious compliance stories and our first story of the day is by Mousalom. He told me to draw faster, so I drew faster. So this is a story from around 7 years ago. I was in my first year of college and I had this subject called engineering drawing, which by the way is kind of irrelevant to my major, electronics and communications. The subject was all about figuring out and drawing all sides of an object by looking at drawings of two sides, or just drawing what a cross-section of that object looked like. I was the type who was good at drawing details, but I take my time to avoid any mistakes. So the drawing that takes like 30 minutes with someone else might take around 45 minutes for me. The professor of this subject always gave us assignments during his lecture, which we had to finish in the last 30 minutes of the lecture. And obviously I would still not be finished when time is up, so he would make me stay later than others to finish it. Then proceeds to nitpick any small mistakes he notices on it while lecturing me about how I should draw faster. Of course, I saw none of the others being treated this way. As long as they say they're done and show a drawing, they can go home without him even taking a closer look. He told me that if I don't work on my drawing and make it faster, I would never pass his subject. Now this professor in particular was known for making the exam drawings take more time than you get. We get 2 hours to finish drawing everything, and we have 3 drawings that each should take at least 45 minutes to do properly, so the highest grades were around 70 to 80. I'd like to point out that 40 points are for the practical part where we did assignments and 60 for the exam, so that 70 to 80 is how much they get with a max practical grade. Now, I took a look at past exams and I noticed something interesting. Because he puts 3 drawings, 2 of them go on one side of the paper and the last one goes on the other side. And since he has a lot of space, the last one is always on a 1:1 scale, and we just have to make a cross-section of it, so I knew what I had to do. Fast forward to the day of the exam, I go in knowing what to do. I grab the paper to get surprised by not 1, but 2 questions with a 1:1 scale, and the last question was very small and had a bigger scale. My smile grows bigger. I put the answer sheet over the question sheet in a way that lets me see the lines of the drawings, and I just trace the lines, and in less than 15 minutes, the cross-section drawing is done. Only the border lines because I have to add details inside and mark the cut section, but these shouldn't take long. As I'm working on the other question the same way, the professor enters the hall to see if anyone has any questions about the exam, or we have something we didn't understand, and he notices me after a minute or 2. He rushes to me and looks closely at my paper, then he picks it up and sees the question paper right below it. He gets visibly angry. "What do you think you're doing?" "Drawing?" "Why do you have the paper set up this way?" Me with a smile. "We have no rules against that though. I can put my papers wherever I want." "But that's cheating." "I'm not using the subject book or cheating notes or even getting answers from anyone around me, so it doesn't count." The rules state what is considered as cheating, so going by the rules only, I wasn't considered cheating. He realizes that I'm right and I didn't break any rule. "Alright then, from now on it's a rule. Don't put answer sheet above question sheet." "Okay, I promise I won't do that. Can I have my paper back so I can finish the exam?" He returns the paper to me, goes to the guy watching us during the exams, points at me and says, "Keep an eye on that guy." Ha! Too late for that. I had already made progress on the second drawing when he caught me, so I was almost done doing this anyway. I actually almost finished 2 drawings in around 30 minutes, so I had leeway to take my time with the last one and check for any mistakes after I finished drawing everything, and even with that, I finished the exam around 30 minutes before time ended, and went back home satisfied, while others thought I was throwing the subject because they needed the full time just to pass it. You need 60% to pass any subject. Thankfully, because in our university the professor can't see the names of the students when grading, I got away with this and got an 85 out of 100 on the subject. I had 25 out of 40 on the practical, which means I got a full mark on the exam part. I told my friends about what I did, and they were surprised that I even thought of doing this. Needless to say, you can't use this plan anymore in my university because the professor stopped using 1-to-1 scale questions and a rule was added to consider this as cheating in any subject that needs drawing. Whoopsie. The whole time I was reading this, I was thinking about how I can't even draw stick figures properly, let alone full diagrams and cross sections and whatnot. Be honest guys, can you draw at all? Are you good drawers? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by eWhiskey M. Don't want 60 seconds of adjustment? Okay. Enjoy waiting 6 weeks. So I'm a dental assistant for a private practice. Let me just preface this by saying most of our patients are wonderful people. Friendly, happy to see us, respect our professional opinions and recommendations, etc. But literally just like 3 hours ago, I had the biggest Karen in for what should have been a simple appointment. So when we do crowns, or caps as some people know them as, we prep the tooth beforehand and take an impression. Then that impression goes to a lab and the techs there make the crown. It takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to send the crown back. When we deliver the crown to the patient, the doctor and I try the crown in first just to see how it fits. It is very rare that it fits perfectly. We almost always have to make some adjustments. Shaving down the crown here and there, checking the space in between the teeth, checking the bite, etc. All of this is standard. The main thing we use is called articulating paper. When the patient bites down on it, we can see heavy blue markings where the bite needs adjusting. The more we adjust, the lighter those marks get, and even stop marking altogether sometimes. Most exchanges with the patients are like this. How's it feel? It's a little high. Okay, we'll adjust that. We use the articulating paper, then grind the crown down a little. How's it feel now? Oh, feels much better. Okay, cool, let's cement it in. This takes maybe 5 minutes at most. This lady we had tonight was having none of it. How's it feel? It's way off. Okay, we'll adjust it. How's it feel now? The same. Really? No change? The same. Okay, no biggie, let's adjust more. We did this maybe for 5 minutes, over and over, and she kept insisting that it was exactly the same. No change, even though the marks were gone at this point, meaning that her teeth were no longer even touching the crown. At this point, we had a couple options which the doctor presented to her. The doctor said, okay, well, I can keep adjusting the crown. The only issue is that if I keep reducing the porcelain on top, the metal underneath might end up showing. Are you okay with that? No. Okay, well then I need to make a small adjustment to the tooth above this one so that they don't touch. It's very superficial. No, don't touch my other teeth. We do this all the time, ma'am. It doesn't harm the teeth. We're basically just polishing it. No, that's a lie. If you guys did it correctly the first time, you wouldn't have to adjust it at all. I say, ma'am, we do this for everyone. The lab almost never makes them perfect. We either have to adjust the crown itself or the opposing teeth. No, you screwed up. Well, we have to adjust one or the other, so which would you prefer? Do you want metal showing? No. So we can polish the opposing tooth? No. It'll literally take a few seconds. No, you're lying. It's gonna harm my teeth. At this point, the doctor suggested getting our office manager to talk to Karen. Our office manager is an awesome lady. She's old, doesn't give a freak, and is 2 years away from retirement. I told her the situation, and she laughed and said, okay, let's make her wait another month. I don't give a crap. So she marched right in there and said, okay, ma'am, since you don't want this crown, we'll send it back to the lab and have them redo it. So instead of just waiting these 60 seconds for us to adjust, she now has to wait 3 weeks to come in again. And that's just to re-prep the tooth. Then she has to wait another 3 weeks for the crown to come back from the lab again. Anyway, thanks for reading. I mostly just wanted to type this out to rant. I've been working as a dental assistant for almost a decade now, and I've never had an exchange like that. It was so bizarre. I straight up think she was either lying to our faces or just crazy. It made 0 sense. This Karen was just too woke. You guys clearly made a mistake and she won't let you get away for trying to cover it up by adjusting another tooth for 60 seconds. Dentists of the world, us Karens are after you. You better be careful and get our teeth right and stuff. Our next story is by Complex River. I can't see my mom's oncologist with her. Fine, I'll just sit in the lobby. My mom has stage 4 cancer and has to go into her cancer doctor's office twice a month for med checks and a shot. She also gets seizures and winds up loopy for a day or so after she has one. Her cancer doctor has a strict no recording policy for appointments, and now they no longer allow people to go with patients in to see the doctor under any circumstances. 2 visits ago, my mom went to the doctor. We told them she had had a seizure earlier that day and that she was still kind of looped from it. We asked that any directions she needed to follow or any important notes from the appointment be given to her in writing. The Karen of a nurse rudely explained that that's not something they do and that my mom would just have to keep track of it herself. My mom can't even write because the cancer has eaten holes in her hand and arm bones. So not really sure what she thought my mom could do. Anyways, they wind up changing her prescription. We find out later from the pharmacy that it could possibly kill her with the other meds the cancer doctor had her on. Mom didn't recall what the doctor had told her about stopping the other meds and starting the new ones. Thank God the pharmacist caught it, because my mom would have just taken them as prescribed and died. Figuring that she needed someone to go with her to the appointment and working within the confines of the office's restrictions, we came up with the solution of sending her back with a walkie-talkie and me sitting in the lobby with the other walkie-talkie taking notes of anything important. We got walkie-talkies that I could plug an earpiece into so it wouldn't be a nuisance to others in the lobby. We were pretty pleased with our solution and felt that it was considerate and respectful of everyone involved as well as mindful of restrictions. Well, Karen the nurse was super duper pissed about it. She went off on me and kept insisting that if my mom was that sick, she should be in the hospital, not a doctor's office. We communicate with her neurologist regularly and she didn't need to be in the hospital. She made a big stink about how walkie-talkies were the same as recording and kept pointing to the no recording sign. She told me that it's not her problem, my mom can't write to take her own notes, and that it's a patient's responsibility to make sure they know and follow the doctor's orders, blah blah blah. So we wound up having to talk to the office manager, who wasn't thrilled with our solution, but agreed to allow it after pointing out that it could affect the level of care my mom gets because having a walkie-talkie on could make the doctor feel uncomfortable. I didn't say anything back, but I had plenty on my mind that I could have said. I was just glad they agreed to follow it. So my mom got to see her doctor, and I got to take notes. The best part of it was that there were 3 other sets of people I met in the lobby who were stressed about the same thing. One lady was blind and had Alzheimer's, and they wouldn't let her daughter back with her, and they thought our solution was very clever. So we may have started a trend of people bringing walkie-talkies or using video calls to go into the cancer doctor. The fact that they can't give you written instructions is insane. What kind of a doctor's place is it, regardless of what kind of specialty, that they can't give you written instructions? That's like one of the most basic fundamental things of patient care. That would irritate me to no end. If you're going to any kind of medical place and they can't give you written instructions, I would advise you try to find an alternate place to go to if you can, because I think that seems like there's some kind of shady issue going on here, and it likely means that whatever care they chose for you, they don't want on any kind of written record. Why else wouldn't they allow it? And our final story of the day is by Throwaway Again. Division manager risks safety to save 20 seconds. Sometimes unions do right. I was a part-time supervisor for a package moving company that moves those brown packages. Prior to running an aircraft unload crew, I spent a couple of years in the training department training new employees on ramp/tarmac operations and was very familiar with the air operation manual that covers every aspect of the ramp/aircraft load/unload operations. In that manual, it explains the proper procedure and timing for approaching and putting up the aircraft stairs when an aircraft arrives. One section deals with aircraft that do not have auxiliary power units. Older aircraft that do not have these do not have the ability to open the cargo door without ground power attached. For that reason, when the aircraft comes to a stop, the pilot sets the parking brake and the ground crew blocks the front tires only. At this point, the aircraft is supposed to shut down the engines on the side of the doors. The manual says the ground crew supervisor must visually confirm those engines are shut down prior to anyone or anything approaching the aircraft or putting up crew stairs. One day, I arrive for the supervisor pre-operations meeting, and I'm instructed that I must instruct my crew to put up the crew stairs as soon as the front tires are blocked. I tell my supervisor that this isn't the proper operation, and he informs me that this comes from the division manager. He tells me, "Well, that is what I was told to do, so that is what I'm telling you to do." I proceed to his boss, the manager, and show him the operations manual and explain that it isn't what it says, and that it is unsafe to approach any aircraft that has engines running. That manager tells me, "If you disagree, take it up with the division manager." So I march my butt down to the division manager's office and show him the operations manual, and he tells me that because the aircraft is stopped and the front wheels are blocked, that the engines on that side are being shut down, so the stairs could go immediately up and ignore the 20 seconds it takes to make sure the engine has spun down and is off. I'm told I will do it his way as he is the division manager, and that is it. Malicious compliance. Go out to unload the aircraft with my crew and explain that I don't want you to be unsafe, but we are going to put the new rule to the test. I told them all to be ready and to move extra quickly to block the tires as soon as the plane stopped, and as soon as it was blocked, to put the stairs up as fast as possible and be mindful in case something went wrong. I flew up those stairs to greet the engineer that usually, without stairs there, cracks the door so he can peek out and open the cargo door. Needless to say, I scared the crap out of the engineer when he cracks the door and I pull it open and say, "Hi." Slightly stunned, he says hello and gives me the wait one moment. He opens the cargo door and then waves me inside. He asks me, "Why are the stairs up and why are you there?" I explain what I wrote above to him, and he shakes his head and says, "Oh my God, no." He says, "Come with me and tell the pilot and co-pilot." I tell them the division manager's reasoning, and the pilot says, "There are many reasons why I might leave these engines running, and that while normally they are shut down as soon as the brake is set, that it isn't always the case." I told him I agreed, and I tried to do something about it. Pilot looks at me and says, "I got you. I'll walk upstairs right now and threaten to grieve it through the pilots union." I thank him, and the next day the division manager had changed his mind, and we went back to doing it properly. Division manager didn't know it was me who threw him under the bus for not listening to me. Imagine trying to ignore a rule that most likely was made because somebody was maimed or died because of lack of that rule. That's what the division manager was trying to ignore here. Obviously, OP did exactly the right thing here in trying to force the issue that, hey, this isn't okay, it could hurt somebody, it could kill somebody. It's a good thing OP got it shut down and back to the way it should be. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.